This is the Next Level Racing Wheel Stand 2.0, the company's brand new wheel stand designed for users who want a portable, easy to store sim racing solution without sacrificing rigidity or comfort. It's been a few weeks since Next Level Racing sent it to me, and after putting it to constant use, I'm ready to give you all my review. Today I'll be sharing what I like about it, what I dislike, and everything in between. And if you just want to skip around, timestamps are provided in the video description or in the video timeline. If this wheel stand looks vaguely familiar to some of you, it's for good reason. This is because, well, it's pretty much the front half of the GT Trak cockpit, which was previously the company's flagship offering. However, although it looks almost identical, there are some very notable differences. Most importantly, the one that allows this wheel stand to fold up and be stored away. All you have to do is remove this knob on the back near the pedals and then reattach it to hold up the pedal stand. Slightly loosen the knobs on the pivot joint and then pull the legs of the wheel stand together. I was able to quickly do this even with the heaviest gear I have attached, so it gets my stamp of approval on that regard. The Next Level Racing Wheel Stand 2.0 was released on October 21st, 2021 with a $250 price tag, and it almost seems like a steal considering the $900 the GT Trak retails for. The cool part about this is that it gives you the option to upgrade to the full cockpit later down the road once you no longer want to use it as a wheel stand. The GT seat add-on sells separately for $500 and converts this into what is essentially the GT Trak. This wheel stand also comes with included shifter and handbrake support, which can be mounted on either the left or the right hand side. Finally, it can also be adjusted in nearly every way you could want, from the angle of the wheel to the distance of the pedal tray to even the angle of the shifter arm. You won't have any problem adjusting this to fit your needs. In terms of what I like about the Next Level Racing Wheel Stand 2.0, there's quite a bit. I actually didn't know the price of this wheel stand until I had spent over a few weeks using it, and when I finally heard that it only retailed for $250, I didn't believe it at first. For starters, it seems way too inexpensive considering the price of the actual GT Trak cockpit, and considering this is almost the entire front half of that, I thought it was going to be at least around $400. But with the GT Trak aside, this seems like it feels and costs a lot more than $250, and that's just me being completely honest. I hope some of you don't take me saying that in the wrong way. I really do think it's less expensive than most would actually think. Anyway, price aside, let's move on to how it performs in game. The port that holds your chair onto the cockpit itself is what Next Level Racing calls the gaming chair cradle, and it works just as you would imagine. The two front legs of your chair sit on top of it, and this prevents you from flying backwards as soon as you apply the brakes. From my experience, it overall did a very good job. I was testing it out with some pretty hardcore load cell pedals, and only when I was applying absolute max force could I actually feel like my chair was starting to go backwards. So if you'll be using this with non-load cell pedals or even something like the Thrustmaster TLCMs, you'll most likely be totally fine. But overall, I think this is a genius solution to properly and easily attach your chair onto your wheel stand. In order to really put this wheel stand to the test, I immediately hooked up my direct drive wheelbase onto it. If something was really going to put this wheel stand to its limits, it would be this, and to my surprise, it handled it like a champ. Even under the heavy load of both my direct drive wheelbase and load cell pedals, I didn't feel any significant or noticeable flex when racing in game, and coming from a wheel stand, that's almost unheard of. In terms of seating position and ergonomics, it also did a good job. My chair was at comfortable length from the wheel and pedals, and I could easily adjust everything to where it felt comfortable. The one thing I would watch out for if you're considering purchasing this wheel stand is that you have a proper chair that will not only withstand some load, but will also comfortably fit onto this. A wheel stand can only be so good, but if you have a crappy chair, it'll heavily spoil the experience. Anyways, moving on, not all is wonderful and grand when it comes to the Wheel Stand 2.0 however, as now it's time to talk about what I did not like about it. My first complaint is, well, how portable really is this wheel stand? I mean, it is heavy. This thing is no joke. It's constructed from very tough and rigid metal parts, which although increase rigidity, also increase weight and thus makes moving this around quite the workout. My second complaint, which could have been easily resolved, is why doesn't it come with caster wheels? This would have made moving it around far easier, as you wouldn't have to lift the whole thing up, which again is heavy, especially with all your gear attached. The interesting part is that the GT Trak cockpit does come with caster wheels, so I'm guessing the only reason is because you wouldn't be able to lay this against the wall folded up if it had wheels, but that's just my guess. Regardless, in my honest opinion, I couldn't see myself easily moving this back and forth every day. Not only is it again very heavy, but you would also have to constantly unplug and then replug your wheel, paddle, shifter, or handbrake every single time, which I could see becoming very annoying very fast. Don't get me wrong, it's fantastic that Next Level Racing is providing solutions to sim racers who are tight on space and can't dedicate a single area for just a rig, but then again you also have to consider the drawbacks when it comes to setting this up and putting it away every single day or every other day. Another negative is that I did notice a significant amount of flex on the shifter arm whenever I pulled on my handbrake. Even after tightening everything as much as I could, it wasn't able to remain totally still. I will note, however, that it did not have a problem when just using my H-pattern shifter. In conclusion, the Next Level Racing Wheelstand 2.0 is surprisingly good and comes in at an outstanding price if you ask me. It provides all the adjustability you could want, gives you the option to upgrade to a full cockpit later on in the future, gives you portability options, and from my experience was easily able to handle the most demanding gear I own. In terms of its limitations, using a desk chair will always have its drawbacks in both immersion and in some cases rigidity. Moreover, the portability aspect should be seen more as a maybe I'll have to store it away once a week or month rather than something you'll be doing every day. Finally, the shifter arm did have some flex when applying heavy load onto my handbrake. But with all that in mind, I still think this is a great offering, especially for the price. But if it'll be right for you is a question, well, for you at the end of the day. But hopefully this video facilitates making that decision. As always, thank you all for watching, stay safe, and have a fantastic rest of your day.